Hi, everyone. My name is Aris Margosian, and I am a rising college senior. Today, I'm here to tell you about my nearly lifelong relationship with the Children's Room. My life changed in a huge way on February 13th, 1999, when my dad lost his 2-year battle with leukemia. I was just 5 years old. I do not have many memories of him, but I do remember some of our routines. My dad and I were both big cereal eaters, and I used to love to climb onto his lap and eat out of his bowl. We also both liked a little bakery down the road from us called the Gingerbread Construction Company. We often went to get gingerbread cookies when he picked me up from school. My dad loved to make up nonsense songs, and he used to take my gingerbread cookie, which was always shaped like a girl, and he would dance her along to one of his made-up songs. My strongest memories of my dad, though, are of painting with him. In the last 5 years of his life, he took up painting and turned our attic into a makeshift art studio. He got me a little easel and placed it next to his, and we used to paint side by side. After my dad died, I found myself uncomfortable around my peers. I remember when my mom took me to my first soccer game after he had died. I saw a group of dads lining the field and gripped my mom's hand tightly, realizing my dad was no longer one of them. A couple of years later, I remember when my teacher announced we would be making Father's Day cards. All of my classmates got out their paper and crayons, and I just sat paralyzed. Eventually, my teacher suggested that I make a card for my mom instead. These kinds of moments with my peers highlighted what I had lost and made me feel different and alone. For years after my dad died, my mom, sister, and I would bring homegrown tomatoes and eggplants to the cemetery. My dad used to plant a small vegetable garden every summer, and so bringing some of his favorite foods to his grave was meaningful for my family. But how could I possibly explain an experience like this to my elementary school friends? Most of them did not have a mature concept of death, let alone the ability to understand what it might feel like to bring food to their dad's graves. Fortunately, shortly after my dad's death, a family friend found the Children's Room for us. At that time, the Children's Room operated out of the basement of an Arlington church. My mom, sister, and I attended on Thursday nights for 3 years. My strongest memory of being at the Children's Room as a child is spending time in the art room. I loved to draw and color, and I think it was a way for me to connect with my dad. I do not recall sharing a lot about my dad, but remember how comfortable I felt being around other children who had experienced a similar loss. Since I often felt so different, it was relieving to walk into the Children's Room and feel just like everyone else. At the start of my freshman year of high school, I returned to the Children's Room as a volunteer on Sunday afternoons. I returned because a family that had lost a daughter wanted to attend the program but could not come unless their other daughter was paired one-on-one with a volunteer. Since the Children's Room was short on volunteers that year, I came back to be matched with this girl. At the time, I could never have imagined that I would have enjoyed volunteering as much as I did, or that I would remain a volunteer until heading off to college. At the start of my second year as a volunteer, I began working with a group of children who were 5 and under who had experienced the death of a parent or sibling. Over the course of my years as a volunteer, I was amazed that children who were so young could share their personal experience with loss and make connections with one another. I was also surprised by how beneficial it would be for me to be with children who were the same age as I was when my own dad had died. One memorable moment was listening to a little girl in my group talk about her upcoming birthday. She said she was feeling sad because she wished her dad could be there to celebrate it with her. Instantly, I was reminded of waking up on my 6th birthday and asking my mom if, as my gift, my dad could come back for the day. I could deeply relate to how this little girl was feeling and felt like I was listening to myself as a child. Not only did I benefit from being with these children, but I also became good friends with 2 of the girls who volunteered with me. One of them, Steph, lost her dad at 4 years old, and the other, Courtney, lost her dad at 6 years old. Courtney ran the marathon for the Children's Room in 2012 and spoke at this breakfast that year. Steph just ran her third marathon for the Children's Room and is the youngest member on the board. To me, they are great examples of young women who have thrived despite experiencing such early loss. They are a few years older than me, but it has been wonderful to have them as friends and mentors. Beyond the ability to connect with others with similar stories of loss, I think the Children's Room has helped me see that I can carry the past with me in a healthy way as I continue to live a full life. The reality is that my dad's death is a part of me, and the impact of this loss reemerges in my everyday life. It manifests itself at odd moments, like when I see a father and daughter out to lunch, and it is also present on important days of my life. I felt the loss of my dad at my high school graduation, and I'm sure I'll feel it at my college graduation as well. Instead of trying to suppress these feelings, my experience at the Children's Room has shown me that it is okay to acknowledge them because they are natural and normal. Although my dad died when I was little, I know a lot of good has come into my life as a consequence. I feel very blessed that I was on both the receiving and giving end of the services the Children's Room provides to young families. It is a remarkable place that helps so many families, and I hope it exists forever. The Children's Room is here because of the many people who volunteer and contribute in other ways. Thank you all for your presence here this morning and for listening to my story.